All right, so let's take a look at Caterpillar's Q3 2024 earnings call.
Yeah.
As always, these guys are really important in construction and mining equipment.
Sure.
Really, their performance is often a signal for what's going on in those industries,
For sure.
and even gives us hints about the broader economic picture.
Absolutely.
We've got the transcript right here, got the latest stock info, hot off the press, as they say.
Fresh.
So let's see what we can find.
Well, one thing that kind of jumps out right away is that revenue is down
Okay.
4% year over year,
Wow.
coming in at $16.1 billion.
Yeah, that's not really the roar we're used to hearing from the big cat, is it?
No, not a perfect performance by any stretch.
Not at all. And looking at the segments here,
Yeah.
construction industries took a 9% hit.
Mm.
Resource industries down 10%.
Ugh.
Only energy and transportation showing a little bit of life with a 5% gain.
Right.
If you're an investor, that's got to give you pause.
It does raise some concerns.
Yeah.
But here's where it gets interesting. Even with those sales declines, their adjusted operating profit margin is holding steady at 20%. Which is actually pretty impressive given the headwinds they're facing.
It's like squeezing lemonade out of a
Right.
less than ideal lemon harvest, shall we say.
Yeah, maybe some underripe lemons this time.
Yeah, exactly.
But their tight financial management
Mm-hmm.
and some favorable manufacturing costs seem to be their saving grace here.
So it seems like they might have anticipated this downturn a little bit
Yeah, potentially.
and made some strategic moves
Possibly.
because they've been putting a lot of emphasis on these areas with long-term growth potential, like power generation, solar turbines.
Mm-hmm.
And that's likely contributing to the strength we're seeing in the energy transportation segment.
It seems like it. Yeah.
So not just hunkering down waiting for the storm to pass.
Right.
They're actively investing in areas that could pay off big down the road.
Exactly.
One thing that really caught my eye was their big bet on large engines.
Oh.
They're doubling output capacity
Wow.
and just announced another multi-year investment to expand it even further.
It makes you wonder, what do they see coming
Right.
that requires such a dramatic ramp up in production?
That's the question, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they did point to data centers and distributed generation as key drivers.
Oh. Yeah.
You know, with cloud computing and AI exploding,
Mm-hmm.
those sectors are on fire.
For sure.
Looks like Caterpillar's positioning themselves to grab a big slice of that pie.
Makes sense.
And let's not forget the energy transition.
Right.
Caterpillar's solar turbine business is booming, both for oil and gas,
Yeah.
A&D power generation.
So they're really playing both sides of the field there.
Yeah, they are.
Meeting the traditional energy needs while also kind of getting ahead of the curve on renewables.
Smart move in a volatile market like this.
Absolutely.
But let's get back to the segments for a minute
Okay.
and unpack construction industries a little bit more.
All right.
What stood out to you there?
Well, dealer inventory is a bit higher than expected.
And those dealers are seeing slower demand from their customers, especially in North America.
Uh-oh, that's not a good sign.
No, not really.
Especially if you're watching Caterpillar stock.
Right, because if demand keeps slowing, they might have to cut production,
Right.
which could hit their profitability.
Exactly.
So they need to strike a balance here, right?
Yeah.
Keeping enough inventory on hand, but not getting stuck with a surplus
Yeah.
if things slow down even further.
Makes sense. And speaking of construction activity,
Yeah.
another interesting data point is rental fleet utilization. They touched on this in their last earnings call.
They did.
And it doesn't seem to have improved much.
No, not really.
Lower utilization usually means less construction activity overall.
Right, which could be a sign of broader economic weakness.
Yeah.
But here's a twist.
Okay.
Dealer rental revenue is actually still going up.
So fewer machines rented, but more money coming in.
Exactly.
That doesn't seem to add up.
It is a bit of a head scratcher. It makes you wonder what kind of projects are driving that revenue growth.
Yeah.
Maybe specialized projects that need specific Caterpillar equipment
Possibly.
so they can charge a premium.
Could be.
Definitely something to keep an eye on.
Absolutely.
Now, let's not forget about the Infrastructure Investment and Jobs Act.
The IIJA.
The IIJA, that's right.
That big government spending plan for roads, bridges, all that good stuff.
The whole 9 yards.
Yeah.
And only about 27% of the total funding has actually been spent so far,
Really?
with most of it still committed or waiting to be allocated.
Okay.
So that could be a tailwind for Caterpillar down the line.
Potentially, yeah.
As those projects get going,
Right.
government spending could give the whole construction sector a boost.
It's something to watch, for sure.
Yeah.
But let's shift gears to resource industries for a second.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on their performance?
Well, sales are down,
Yeah.
but the rate of decline is slowing.
Interesting.
So maybe the worst is behind them for now, at least in that segment.
That's possible. But here's the thing.
Okay.
High product utilization and an aging fleet suggests that miners are squeezing every bit of life out of their existing equipment
Yeah.
before making big purchases.
They're sweating their assets,
They are.
hoping to delay that big spending as long as they can.
Right.
But those machines will need replacing eventually.
Of course.
And that's where Caterpillar stands to benefit.
Exactly. The question is when that replacement cycle kicks in.
Right.
And will it be enough to offset the current slowdown?
Yeah.
Well, Caterpillar seems to be betting on it,
Right.
especially when it comes to autonomous mining trucks.
They did mention strong customer interest in those high-tech behemoths.
Yeah, it seems like the future of mining is automation,
Hmm.
and Caterpillar's making sure they're at the forefront of that shift.
And their Cat Dynamic Energy Transfer System is another example of that.
Oh, right.
Allows for efficient energy transfer to both diesel-electric and battery-electric mining trucks.
So they're combining electrification and autonomy.
They are.
Hitting two of the biggest trends in mining right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They're not content with just selling the equipment.
No.
They want to be the ones shaping how mining is done.
Shaping the future.
Yeah, and they have the technology to back it up.
Now on to the brighter spot in their Q3 results.
Okay.
Energy and transportation.
Right.
What were your key takeaways there?
Well, as we mentioned earlier, power generation is hot right now,
It is.
driven by all those data centers and distributed generation projects popping up everywhere.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
And Caterpillar's reciprocating engines and solar turbines are right in the sweet spot to capitalize on that.
It seems like it, yeah.
And they're not letting up.
Nope.
They're investing heavily to expand production capacity.
To meet that growing demand.
Right, for power generation equipment.
Exactly.
They're even shifting production from other areas,
Oh, well.
like oil and gas,
Interesting.
to focus on this high-demand sector.
Wow, shows you how adaptable they are.
Yeah, it does.
Shifting resources to where the money is flowing.
Like a game of chess, constantly adjusting their strategy to stay ahead of the game.
But it's not just data centers driving this growth.
Right.
Their solar turbine business is also doing well in oil and gas.
Interesting.
Strong demand for gas compression and international projects.
So it's a good reminder that even as we move towards renewables,
Yeah,
fossil fuels are going to be around for a while.
they will be,
And Caterpillar's ability to serve both markets is a definite strength.
for sure.
However, it's not all smooth sailing in energy and transportation.
No, unfortunately not.
Well, servicing, a key part of the oil and gas industry, has weakened considerably.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is that?
Well, it's just a reflection of the uncertainty in the oil and gas market right now. Fluctuating prices, shifting demand,
Right.
makes it tough to plan investments.
For sure.
But even with those challenges, Caterpillar is finding ways to adapt.
Okay.
They can use their large engine platforms for multiple applications,
Oh,
shifting production to meet demand in areas like power generation.
right, right.
So we've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
What are your overall impressions of Caterpillar's Q3 performance?
Well, they're definitely facing some strong headwinds.
Yes.
Especially in construction industries and resource industries.
What?
That global economic slowdown is having an impact.
Yeah.
And there are concerns about slowing demand and potential inventory buildup.
But they're not just sitting back and taking it.
No, definitely not.
They're managing costs,
Mm-hmm.
investing in those key growth areas,
Right.
and adapting their production to meet demand.
Exactly.
And their strong margins and healthy free cash flow show they're financially disciplined.
Yeah,
And they know how to navigate tough times.
for sure.
And don't forget those investments in automation,
Right.
electrification,
Mm-hmm.
digital solutions.
Yeah, those are long-term bets that could pay off big time
Exactly.
in a future shaped by technology and a changing energy landscape.
So while the short-term outlook might be a little cloudy,
Yeah.
the long-term picture for Caterpillar seems cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
They're a resilient company.
Mhm.
They've got a history of adapting and innovating.
They do.
But there are still some big questions hanging out there.
Oh, of course.
How will the construction market fare with all this economic uncertainty
Right.
and rising interest rates?
Yeah, those are big factors.
Or that infrastructure spending be enough to make up for slowing demand in other areas?
That's the big question.
And how quickly will the mining industry adopt automation and electrification,
Right?
boosting demand for those advanced Caterpillar solutions?
Those are the questions that'll determine Caterpillar's future performance.
Exactly. We don't have all the answers right now.
No.
But their Q3 earnings provide some valuable clues.
They do?
It's a fascinating story.
It is.
And we'll be watching closely to see how it unfolds.
For sure.
Now, this is where we want to hear from you.
Absolutely.
What jumped out at you from Caterpillar's Q3 earnings?
What are you most curious about? We appreciate all those insights and questions.
Yeah.
It seems like a lot of you are picking up on the same themes we are.
Right.
Mixed signals, uncertainties.
For sure.
Big question mark hanging over Caterpillar's future.
And one thing we need to unpack further, I think,
Yeah.
especially for those of you invested in Caterpillar, is this issue of pricing pressure in construction industries.
Right.
This could have a big impact down the line.
Yeah, it's like a double whammy for Caterpillar.
Okay.
You've got softening demand
Right.
and intensifying competition.
Oh, why?
Really putting the squeeze on their pricing power.
Caterpillar's management even mentioned that they expect price realization to moderate further in the coming quarters.
So basically, they might have to start cutting prices
Right.
to stay competitive.
Which means we might see their profit margins shrink.
Yeah,
And
particularly.
if they can't offset those lower prices with higher sales volume.
Something to consider if you're thinking about buying or selling their stock.
Absolutely.
It's a tough spot to be in.
It is.
They've got to protect their margins while
Mhm.
fending off rivals
Yeah.
and navigate a slowing economy.
It's a lot to juggle.
This is where their strategic decision-making really gets put to the test.
And this pricing pressure is likely to be even worse than it appears right now
Oh, how so?
because of how they account for dealers' discounts
Okay.
and those special merchandising programs.
Right, that accounting quirk that Andrew Bonfield,
Yeah.
Caterpillar CFO, talked about
Mhm.
during the earnings call.
Right.
There's a lag between when dealers get those discounts
Right.
and when they actually show up in Caterpillar's financial statements.
Exactly.
So the full impact of recent price cuts might not be visible in their numbers for a while.
That's why it's so important to look beyond the headlines.
Right.
Dig into those underlying dynamics.
Yeah.
Really get a clearer picture of their profitability.
Yeah.
Financial statements don't always tell the whole story.
They don't.
Good reminder to always do your due diligence.
Absolutely.
Now, let's switch gears and talk about something positive.
Okay, I like that.
Caterpillar has been very consistent about returning value to shareholders.
They have.
They've already spent over $9 billion this year on share repurchases and dividends.
Wow, that's a strong signal.
It is.
Tells you they believe in the long-term strength of their business,
Yeah.
even with these short-term challenges.
And their free cash flow.
Mm-hmm.
Think of it like having extra cash in your wallet after paying all the bills
Right.
is expected to be at the top of their target range.
So they've got plenty of room
Yeah.
to continue those shareholder-friendly moves.
Exactly. So they're juggling a lot.
They are.
But so far, they seem to be finding that balance
Yeah.
between strategic investments
Right.
and keeping those shareholders happy.
The question is, can they keep it up as the economy shifts and competition heats up?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it?
It is.
Now, before we wrap up this deep dive,
Sort
there are a few more points I want to touch on
Alright.
that I think you'll find interesting.
Okay, shoot.
First, Caterpillar highlighted the strength of their services business.
Oh, interesting.
This is a key area for them because it provides a more stable and predictable revenue stream.
Right. Compared to equipment sales.
Exactly. Even when times are tough,
Yeah.
construction and mining equipment still needs maintenance and repairs.
People got to keep those machines running.
Got to keep them running.
Exactly.
And as the number of Caterpillar machines out there continues to grow, so does the potential for their services revenue.
Makes sense.
This could be a big win for them no matter what's happening with the economy.
It's a smart strategy.
It is.
Diversifying their revenue sources.
Right.
Building a more resilient business model.
Now, another interesting point was their commentary on China.
Oh, China.
You know, China's been a huge market for Caterpillar in the past,
It has.
but it's slowed down considerably in recent years.
Yeah, for sure.
And there's been a lot of speculation about potential stimulus measures
Right.
to boost the Chinese economy.
Hmm.
Did Caterpillar give any hints about what they expect from this crucial market?
They were pretty cautious,
Okay.
saying it's too early to tell
Yeah,
what impact any stimulus might have.
right.
They also emphasized that the Chinese market for their core products,
Okay.
especially excavators above 10 tons,
Mm-hmm.
is still pretty weak.
So they're not counting on a quick turnaround in China.
No, not really.
They're taking a wait-and-see approach
Yeah.
and focusing on what they can control in other markets.
Smart move.
It is.
Not pinning their hopes on external factors they can't
Mhm.
influence.
Yeah.
Instead, they're focusing on their core strengths,
Mm-hmm.
operational efficiency, strategic investments,
Right.
adapting to those ever-changing market demands.
Practical approach.
It is.
And it served them well in the past.
Now, let's circle back to automation and electrification for a second.
Yeah.
Two areas where Caterpillar is making significant progress.
Right, as we saw with those autonomous mining trucks and their dynamic energy transfer system.
They're really trying to position themselves as leaders in these game-changing technologies that could revolutionize the industries they serve.
But we need to be realistic.
Of course.
These are still early days.
They are.
Adoption of these technologies is going to take time.
Right.
And there will be bumps in the road.
Absolutely.
There's still questions about cost, infrastructure,
Right.
even social acceptance of these new technologies.
But Caterpillar's well aware of these challenges, and they're not backing down.
They're not.
They're embracing the future.
They are.
Investing in the technologies and solutions they believe will drive their next chapter of growth.
It's an exciting time to be following Caterpillar.
It is.
Even with all the uncertainty in the global economy.
For sure.
It's a company in transition, navigating a complex landscape with a mix of caution and boldness.
Their Q3 earnings might not have been a celebration.
No.
But they did give us a valuable glimpse into their resilience, their strategic thinking, and their dedication to creating long-term value.
It's a story that we'll be following closely.
As always. We encourage you to do your own research.
Yeah.
Look at the data.
Right.
Draw your own conclusions about Caterpillar's prospects.
Absolutely. The markets are complex and unpredictable.
They are.
And there's always more than one way to look at things.
That's for sure. All right, so we've analyzed Caterpillar's Q3 performance.
Yeah.
Delved into those financials, considered the key trends that are going to shape their future.
We did.
Now, what's your verdict?
Right. What do you think?
Is the big cat still king of the jungle?
Yeah.
Or are they losing their grip?
That's the question.
Yeah.
It's a great question. You know, they're facing a tougher environment than they have in years.
For sure.
That's for sure. I mean, the global economy is shaky. And then there's all those industry-specific challenges we talked about.
Right.
Slowing construction, energy transition, rise of automation. It's a lot to handle.
It is a lot.
It is. But, you know, let's not forget.
Yeah.
Caterpillar's been around for almost a century.
Almost 100 years?
They've weathered plenty of storms.
Yeah.
Coming out stronger each time.
Right. They always seem to land on their feet.
They do. They've got a knack for adapting.
They do.
To changing markets.
Yeah.
Making smart investments. And just staying laser focused on efficiency.
It's impressive.
Those are valuable skills no matter what the economy throws at them.
Absolutely.
And let's not underestimate their global reach.
True.
And that wide range of products they offer.
Right.
They're not dependent on any single market.
Nope.
Or any single product line. So they're somewhat protected from localized or industry-specific downturns.
Diversification.
Yeah.
That's a classic strategy for a reason.
It is. It spreads the risk.
Right. Opens up multiple avenues for growth.
So while the road ahead might be a bit bumpy,
Yeah.
I think Caterpillar has what it takes to navigate those challenges and grab those opportunities that come their way.
They've got a solid foundation.
You do.
A clear vision for the future.
Yeah.
And the financial muscle to make it happen.
That being said, they're not being complacent.
No, definitely not.
They're watching the market closely, adjusting their strategy,
Right.
making those tough choices
Yeah.
to stay competitive in the long run.
That's what separates the winners from the also-rans, right?
I think so.
That ability to adapt, innovate, stay ahead of the curve.
Well said. Caterpillar's Q3 earnings weren't exactly a cause for celebration.
No.
But they did give us some valuable insights
They did.
into their resilience, their strategic thinking, and their commitment to building long-term value.
It's a story we'll continue to follow closely.
We will. As always, we encourage you to do your own research.
Yeah.
Look at the data. Draw your own conclusions
Absolutely.
about Caterpillar's prospects.
The markets are complex and unpredictable.
They are.
And there's always more than one way to look at things.
There is. But one thing's for sure.
Yeah.
Caterpillar's story is far from over.
It's not over yet.
The big cat is still out there.
They're still out there.
And it'll be interesting to see where their path leads.
In the years to come, for sure.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for this deep dive
Thanks for joining us.
into Caterpillar's Q3 2024 earnings.
Next time.
We'll see you then.